Hello guys, my name is Glomit and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering each and every TW Omicron, and I'm going to be telling you which ones I think are the best value for you to apply. Now just remember guys, this is only my opinion, it is not fact. Almost everything you look at on YouTube is not fact and it is actually opinion, so please don't kill me for what I say. To begin in the video, we're going to do Phasma's lead, guys. Now, Phasma's lead is this one here, and what it's going to be doing is pretty good. So, to begin with, guys, Phasma is actually one of the best Omicrons you guys can apply in this game, and I'm just going to read out the text for you here. So, while in TW, you get an additional 10% chance to call a random ally to assist, and Phasma gains 100 speed. Whenever a first order ally attacks out of turn, first order allies recover health and protection. Whenever a first order ally gains advantage, they gain 10% offense stacking for the rest of the battle, and all first order allies gain 7.5% TM. Now, this doesn't sound too great to a lot of you. I'm sure you're probably thinking, well, why is this so important? Firstly, it allows you to beat so many teams. Star killer teams are an example, guys. So you're going to be able to out-TM the opponent. You're going to be able to get that offense. Those buffs are going to come in. And if you know how to play the counters right, it's just a phenomenal team. And that's why it's in the S tier. And guys, I just want to make it clear from the get-go that I'm ranking these on the general player base. If there's an Omicron that's fantastic, but is locked behind like 1% of the players, it's probably not going to be S tier. For me, an S tier Omicron is one that makes a team phenomenal in performance, but it also allows a majority of us to take those advantages. So yes, Phasma is up in the S tier, guys. So the next one on the list is going to be Poggle's Hive Mind. And guys, that one is this one. Now, this is not an S tier, I just put it there by accident, but this is actually going to be in the A tier, guys. Poggle's Omicron is very strong. So, let me read it out to you guys. So, at the start of the battle, and the first time an ally is summoned, Geos gain Genosium Brood until the end of the battle, or until they're defeated. It can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. And what this does is it gives 20% max health, max protection, offense, tenacity, and 10 additional speed for each Geo ally. When this character is defeated, revive at 100% health and protection, excluding summons. Now, before this was just amazing, guys, and it's because it didn't have, if there was no enemy Galactic Legends. If it didn't have that clause, this would be S tier because it would be beating GLs. Unfortunately, it does have that clause, so it's just not as good as it was. But it's just such a good Omicron. I would say for 99% of you out there, this is the Omicron to apply. We've all done the whole farm Geos for GeoTV, so why not do Poggle's Omicron? If you're in a guild and it's a smaller guild, you know, when you're a smaller GP player, you're not going to have as many access or as much access to all these Omicron mats that a lot of people have. So if you're in this sort of position, why not invest in Poggle? Poggle is a fantastic Omicron. The team functions perfectly well at Gear 12, and it does shut down some of the more consistent counters. Palpatine, Mara Jade can work, but it's a bit harder. Vader does not solo. You also have the case of Traya. Traya can actually lose against this. I've done it before on stream. It can win, but it's dicey. And then on offense, you'll be beating teams like DR, Malgus, for example. It's a fantastic Omicron, guys. One that I do recommend you invest in. Alright guys, so on to, in terms of the next one we have here, it's going to be Mara Jade. So Mara Jade's one is this one, and it's called the Emperor's Hand. Okay guys, so some of you will now be screaming at me, how can you do this? How can you put Mara Jade in the B tier here? Guys, B tier is still good. B tier is still good. So let me read out the Omicron. At the start of the battle, if the enemy leader is a non-galactic legend, they lose 100% protection, 50% max protection, and Mara Jade gains 100% TM. Whenever an enemy unit is defeated, all allies gain 20% max protection, and Mara Jade inflicts vulnerable for 1 turn on a random enemy which can't be evaded or resisted. This is really nice, but the majority of the value is through the 100% TM. And guys, this is where I think this is a fantastic Omicron. I think a lot of you are going to apply it or have applied it. But I just think compared to the other Omicrons we have now, like a year later, I just don't think it's the best one there is. The problem is, guys, it's nice, but if you have really good mods, okay, there's a lot of reallys, but if you just have good mods, is not as effective. You still get the protection, you still reduce their max protection, but is it really going to be shutting down counters? I feel like this is an Omicron that will help lower gear, people who maybe haven't invested in mods as much, but I think for a lot of us out there, it's just not going to have the same value that, say, Phasma's going to bring, or the same value that Poggle's going to bring. In the end, I mean, Mara is a fast character. Her base speed is 192, guys. So if you have a plus 100 mod set, you're going to be at, 292. And if you have a 130, 140, you get the point, guys. She's so fast anyway. I just don't know. It's a good Omicron, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think it's in A tier or S tier. I think it's going to slot in at B tier. I just don't think it really changes the way the team functions. All being said, I do think it's a fantastic defensive Omicron early game with like Palpatine, Mara Jade, Vader, Thrawn. I think that's a very, very good early game team. But honestly, guys, I just wouldn't put the Omicron any higher than this. Right, the next one on the list is going to be Hera, and I need to make sure I do the right one because look how many similar ones we have. It is this one, and this one is called Rise Together, guys. This is going in the A tier. I really want to put it in S tier, but for now, A tier is fine. And this Omicron is really, really strong, guys. Barossa, if you're watching, I'm just going to give you a quick shout out to someone in my guild who used it, and they absolutely dunked on a Reaver in TW. I'm hoping this is the one. This might have been Grand Arena, but yeah, they just used it in TW and just dunked on Reaver. So yes, it does work, right? It's just a fantastic Omicron. Now this is one that I've spoken about in the past, and I said it's not actually too bad. It's like some people thought it was a meme, but before it was still making Phoenix beat CLS, which is good for, I guess, for a lot of us. So what it's going to be doing is Phoenix allies have 30% counter chance, 50% max health, and plus 30 speed. Whenever Hera uses backup plan, all Phoenix allies gain backup plan for 3 turns, and the first time each other Phoenix ally falls below 50% health, she gains 80% TM. Whenever a Phoenix ally uses special ability, all Phoenix allies gain 10% offense stacking until they're defeated. Now, guys, if you know anything about Commander Rex or Captain Rex or whatever you want to call him, he's going to be specialing and the team's going to be specialing every single turn. Now, this does kind of rely on a certain team comp. You're going to want to run Hera with Chopper and Captain Rex or Commander Rex or whatever you want to call them. I can't remember what they're called in this game. But you're going to want to run those 3 and then insert 2 others. I think Zeb and Sabine are the best. But this is just such a nice Omicron. You're going to be beating a lot of teams. Lord Vader cleanups. You're going to be able to beat Reaver, GI, all of these fantastic teams. Honestly, guys, this is one of the best Omicrons in the game right now. The only reason it's not an S tier is because I just don't know what you're going to be doing with Gear 8 Phoenix. I don't think Phoenix is a team that a lot of us have invested in, and that's the only reason why it's going to stay down here. But A tier is, I mean, you apply this, you're going to have fun, but you're not going to be beating Relic 9 Reaver teams until you at least get the team to Relic. Still really, really strong Omicron, though, guys. The next one on the list today, guys, is going to be a Mace Windu. Now, Mace Windu is one of those ones where you either love it or you hate it. It's called Shatterpoint, and guys, we're going to be putting it in the B tier. Before I would have put this S tier, without a doubt. I think there's better Omicrons now, and I'm a little bit inclined to not put all of them in S tier as much as I want to. I'm trying to balance it out. So the Mace Windu Omicron is going to be doing the following. It's going to be doing 2 things, guys, and one of those is it's going to be applying Shatterpoint whenever a ally character takes a turn. And if you don't know what Shatterpoint does, it's almost like a Force Taunt. And then on top of that, you're also going to be gaining a little bit of turn meter. Now, here's the problem, guys. JMK and Padme, the 2 teams you'll probably use Mace with, just don't gain turn meter. So that makes kind of irrelevant. You can run Mace with Rey, which is really, really powerful. I do recommend it. But other than that, I'm just not really a fan. However, it does have the use with JMK. If you have JMK and Mace together on offense, and you're going against Jabba or Lord Vader or whoever, Mace will Shatterpoint someone every time someone takes a turn. So when Kat takes her first turn, she will Shatterpoint someone and you just insta-kill. It could be Embo, it could be Leia, it could be Maul. It doesn't matter, guys. That's where the benefit comes from. But again, it's in B tier because I don't really think it's the best Omicron until you get JMK. And for that reason, I just, it's a great Omicron, but it's just not as accessible to the community as it probably should be. Alright guys, moving on to the next Omicron, we have Droideka, which is in S tier, without doubt. Droideka is like the go-to one. There's a reason that every guild, ranging from probably 100 mil to 500 mil, is setting only Droidekas in every wall. And it's because it's just such a good Omicron. So Droideka gains damage immunity for 1 turn at the start of the encounter, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. And Droideka also gains 1 stack of charge for 1 turn whenever an ally takes a turn. Whenever an ally is marked, Droideka gains max health stacking until the end of the encounter, and the ally in the leader slot gains 20% TM. At the start of each turn, if Droideka had damage immunity, all allies are immune to daze and stun while Droideka is marked. All other allies gain potency and speed. The first time Droideka is defeated while marked and an ally is active, revive all allies, and at the end of the turn, they recover 100% health. At the start of Droideka's turn, all allies recover health and protection. It's just so nice. And the reason being, guys, is it makes the team immune to daze and stun. Now, I have posted a video recently, which you should go check out, link in the description, for how to beat Droideka Omicron. There are counters, but for a lot of you and a lot of guilds, it is just a staple on defense because it's just so powerful. It can also beat GLs in offense, but on defense, it just excels. Really, really strong Omicron. I don't think I need to talk about it too much today. The next one on the list, guys, is Darth Sidious. Now, this one, unfortunately, there are 2 that look exactly the same. I don't know which one the other one actually is. I might have put it in twice. Who knows? It's Juhani. Why do they have to use the same images? That's really confusing. So Sidious's one is called Sadistic Glee. Now this one is going to go in C tier, guys, but don't think this means it's bad, because it's not. But all I'll say is that the highest level, there are teams that really take use of Sidious Omicron. However, outside of that, it's just not that good. Now, I have always been a fan of people who have Malgus. You can put Sidious with Malgus, and then Malgus just gains so much health. You can kind of cover the health he would lose from not being in Grand Arena, right? But other than that, I don't really think it's the best one there is. It's one of those ones that a lot of people applied if they did C, and I kind of agree with that. But otherwise, I just wouldn't bother. If you want to know what the Omicron does, if all allies are Sith at the start of the battle, other Sith allies gain max health equal to half of Sidious's potency until the first time he's defeated. And when Darth Sidious uses the Demoralizing Blow, the cooldown of the ability is reduced by 1 for each other Sith, and Sidious gains 50 speed stacking. Honestly, guys, Sidious just isn't that great in Omicron. It has its uses, but other than that, I just don't think it's worth the time or investment. Next up, we have Juhani. Juhani is S tier, guys, one of the best Omicrons in the game. If you're wondering what Juhani's Omicron is going to be doing, I will bring it up now, and I will tell you what it does. So Juhani Omicron is going to be forcing her to taunt, and then it makes a random dark side unlearned force user and a random light side unlearned force user gain redeemed until Juhani's defeated, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. Now, whenever an ally with redeemed uses an ability during their turn, all allies with redeemed assist, and whenever an ally with redeemed is damaged by an enemy, all allies with redeemed gain turn meter. Whenever an ally with redeemed is inflicted with a debuff, all allies recover protection. This allows Starkiller to beat Lord Vader. This allows Starkiller to beat Jabba when Leia's dead. This allows Starkiller to basically beat anything in TW, and on defense, he's just a menace. This is one of the best Omicrons out there. It doesn't really take a lot of explaining to tell you why. Alright guys, we are making some lists, or some progress through this list. It will be a long video, guys, but hey, that's what kind of happens here when we do big TW rankings. So the next one on the list is going to be Embo, and this is the Way of the Kyuzu. I don't know how you say it. I'm terrible with pronunciation. And this one is a A-tier Omicron. It's not S-tier, because for it to be S tier, you need Jabba. And Jabba's still a bit new as of making this video, but it is definitely A tier. So what can this Omicron do, and what does this Omicron do? Good question from me, right? So firstly, the Omicron can allow you to beat Rey with just Bosk bounty hunters. I've done it before. I did have Relic 9 Bosk, but I did also beat a Rey. Basically, guys, in TW, what it's going to be doing is increasing your max protection on bounty hunter allies by 40%, whilst also regenerating 25% protection based on embos at the end of each of his turn for the entire team. On top of this, it gives 30% defense and 5% TM whenever a bounty hunter receives damage while debuffed. It's a really, really nice Omicron, but it's just not an S tier because it needs Jabba to get to that tier. Next, we have Ahsoka Fulcrum. Guys, this one is going to be an S tier Omicron, and the reason being, it is a solo Omicron. This is the same as Wampa, this is the same as Savage. Now, this does not mean everyone has it, but if you do, it's amazing. You're going to be beating so many teams. Definitely recommend. If you want to know exactly what it does, it is pretty fun, guys. So this Omicron is going to be giving Fulcrum more speed. It's going to be giving her defense, max health, offense, and max protection, 25% extra. And if there's no active allies at the start of the battle, she gains an additional 100% armor penetration, critical avoidance. She gains defense, max health, offense, max protections, and tenacity. And whenever she dispels a debuff, she gains the opposite buff. It's really, really nice. It also allows her to ignore taunt, and it also allows her to prevent revives. It's just an all-round insane Omicron that you guys should consider applying. Next up on the list, we have Chief Nebbit. Now, this one, guys, I'm going to be real, is kind of a meme. We have the first meme tier. So this Omicron is interesting. So while in TW, when a Jawa deals damage to an enemy, they dispel all buffs from that enemy. For every buff dispelled, they gain a thermal detonator, which can't be prevented, dispelled, or resisted. And whenever an enemy takes damage from a thermal, Jawas recover health and protection and gain turn meter. And there's a 50% chance to inflict another detonator again. Honestly, guys, it just doesn't change any of the counters. It doesn't make Jawas good on defense. It doesn't really change what they beat on offense. I wouldn't really bother. Alright, next up we have GI's lead called Master of the Inquisitorius. And what it's going to be doing is it's going to be allowing Inquisitors to ignore taunt to target enemies with 6 stacks of Purge. On top of that, whenever you gain 6 stacks of Purge, you're also going to be regaining 6 stacks of Purge. So it's really, really nice. Basically allows you to permanently ignore taunt. It's a crucial key in the goal to targeting JMK Cat with Inquisitors and not Reaver, but it's just a really, really nice Omicron. It's up there for those reasons. The only reason it's not an S tier is because if you have Reaver, there is a debate of whether or not you should even apply this one. I still think you should, because I think there are times when you're going to want it, but overall, a really, really nice Omicron. Okay, guys, so next up on the list is going to be Boba Fett Sana Jango's lead. Now, this one is called the Fett Legacy. Now, this one is really, really nice, and it also goes in A tier. So, guys, what this is going to be doing is it's going to be giving lots of buffs. So whenever Boba is in the lead in Territory War, Scoundrels and Bounty Hunters gain 30 speed, 50% mastery, 30 potency, max health and max protection, and they take reduced damage. On top of this, Jango gains, or Boba Fett Son of Jango gains an additional 60 speed, 100% max health and max protection, and contract requirements and rewards are adjusted. So normally his contract is to damage a debuffed enemy 20 times while buffed. However, debuffed enemy 20 times. But they change it to damage a debuffed enemy 10 times. Enemies must be debuffed before the start of the counter. So it's really, really quick to get the contract, which is awesome. And then the reward is going to give you 25% offense and health. Ignore taunt. It gives you health still. And it also makes you do true damage. It's just an insane Omicron, and it makes a lot of counters easier. Lord Vader, Rey, for example. And next up on the list is going to be Jyn Erso, guys. Now, Jyn is a good Omicron, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's as good as it could be. And what I mean by this is, guys, there's like over 30 Omicrons. There's always going to be some that just aren't as good as others. But Jyn's is very, very powerful. Now, what hers is going to be doing, Rogue One allies gain 30% max health, potency, and 20 speed. And whenever a Rogue One ally's buff expires, they gain turn meter. This is Jyn who gains turn meter. If all allies have Rogue One at the start of the battle, whenever Jyn's critically hits an enemy, all allies recover health and gain an additional bonus depending on their role. So attackers gain crit damage up and offense up. Tanks gain critical hit immunity and taunt. And supports gain evasion up and speed. I just don't think it really matters too much. Like, you're still going to be beating whatever you normally do with Jyn. It's a good Omicron, but it's just in C tier because it's not the best there is. I think all of these are better. Next up, we have Grand Inquisitor Special, guys. It is called ready to die. This is without doubt one of the best Omicrons in the game. Now, what this is going to be doing is it's going to be making Grand Inquisitor insta-kill. We love insta-kills, guys. So in TW, the first time all enemies reach 6 stacks of Purge, this ability's cooldown is reset. If the ability has not defeated an enemy, if the target enemy has 6 stacks of Purge and is not a Jedi, inflict buff immunity for 1 turn. And if the target enemy has 6 stacks of Purge and is a Jedi, just instantly defeat them. So not only will this make it easier to beat Jabba teams in Territory War, because of the buff immunity, it makes JMK Cat so easy to beat. Seriously, amazing Omicron. We love insta kills. Grand Inquisitor, I think this is his best Omicron. Alright guys, so moving on to the next one, we have Second Sister. Now this one is, I want to put it in the meme tier, but it's actually going to go in the D tier. There is a reason to apply this, and unfortunately it's for ships. So guys, if you didn't know, when it comes to ships in this game, any character where the Omicron is part of the first 8 levels, it does mean the Omicron affects ship stats. So basically any of the newer characters. So for example, Admiral Akbar, Omicron does not affect ship stats. Second Sister, it does. So that is the only reason you'd apply it. Otherwise, don't bother. In Territory War, enemies start the battle with 2 stacks of Purge. Jedi enemies can't recover health or protection from Jedi unique abilities. You don't do it for the actual Omicron, you do it for the ship. That's why it's in D tier. It's not worth doing, but hey, it's there. Next up, we have Fifth Brother. Exactly the same, guys. You can do it if you want for ships. Otherwise, don't even bother. And that one, I can tell you what it does, but you're not going to use it. And what it does is it's going to be allowing... Basically, okay, here's the text. If the enemy leader is a Jedi, excluding Galactic Legends, Jedi leader abilities that grants bonus speed to non-Jedi allies additionally remove 70 speed. And whenever a non-Jedi enemy gains Retribution, dispel Retribution and instead inflict Expose, which can't be resisted. Whenever an enemy gains bonus TM, Inquisitors gain TM. It's a nice Omicron if it could actually work with against GLs and stuff. I don't know. It's in D tier because it's kind of, it would be a meme, but you might do it for the scythe. That's basically all there is to it. Alright guys, next up is T3, the Master Gearhead. This one is also in D tier, guys. On paper, I think this is one of the better ones. I'm a big fan of the droids. I'm a big fan of T3. On paper, it seems so good. At the start of the encounter, T3 gains stealth for 2 turns. Droid allies gain armor penetration, max health. Droids gain 20% defense for each target locked enemy, and 20% defense while debuffed, and again 20% defense while buffed. At the start of T3's turn, inflict target lock for 2 turns on enemies who don't already have it. This can't be evaded, and then all allies recover health and protection. Now, if this could work with Droidic Omicron, it would be S tier, but it doesn't. And the Shorty team just isn't that great in TW. You kind of use her elsewhere. So honestly, it's just in D tier. I don't think it's that great in Omicron, which is kind of unfortunate. Now, the next one is going to be Boba Fett Sana Jango, the Fett Legacy. Now, this one is in C tier. This is unique. It's a good one. It does help with a lot of counters, but you just don't need it. And that's kind of the reason it's going to be low down here, guys. That's not to say it's not a good Omicron, because it is, but I just wouldn't really bother. So what this is going to be doing in TW, it makes him immune to ability block and stun. And whenever he defeats an enemy, he recovers 100% protection. He also gains Bounty Hunter Resolve, and then his double action, Dual Barrage and Bounty Breaker generate an additional stack of momentum when used. Bounty Breaker's debuffs can't be resisted or dispelled. I just, it's nice, but you just don't need it, and that's why it's only in the C tier. Next up is Seventh Sister. It's in the meme tier, guys. Until she gets a ship, please don't apply this, because you're not going to use it. What it does is, in Territory War, whenever a Jedi gains Foresight, all Inquisitors gain Foresight. At the end of each turn, dispel buffs on Jedi enemies who have Foresight. Additionally, whenever an enemy gains a buff, 7th has a 10% chance to inflict 1 stack of Purge on the enemy until the end of the encounter, increased by 20% if the enemy's a Jedi. It's just not worth it. Meme tier, guys. Next up on the list, we have Skiff Guard Lando. Now, this one, is unfortunate. It is going to go in the C tier. It's a good Omicron. It's actually one of the better Omicrons, guys. But like I said at the beginning, we are basing this off the general gameplay and not just the 1%. So the Omicron reads the following. Allies with deep cover gain an additional 10% defense, penetration, potency, and speed. Whenever Lando gains deep cover, he grants 1 stack of deep cover to a random ally. Now, deep cover is what his unique does normally, and what it is 10% defense, penetration, and potency. This is really, really good on a Jabba team. Like, really, really strong. But if you don't have Jabba, it's a waste. So that is why it's in the D tier, C tier even. In fact, I'm going to bump it down to D tier. Yeah, it's a good Omicron. It's just, unless you have Jabba, it's just not worth it. But if you have Jabba, honestly, it bumps all the way up to like B or A. But if you don't have Jabba, it's in C or D. Alright guys, so the next Omicron on the list is Grand Inquisitor's unique. Compassion leaves a trail. So I'm going to be real, I'm between A and B. We're going to put it in B tier today. Now this, if I had done this list a few months ago, it would have been a lot lower down. However, I have changed my mind, and that's because Reva's out. So what the unique does is whenever a Jedi enemy with Purge gains protection up, they take damage equal to 25% of max health at the end of that turn. This damage can't defeat enemies, and if an enemy with 6 stacks of Purge were to reduce GI's health to 1%, he recovers 100% health and protection. So firstly, in a Reva team, it's insane, because Reva gives 6 stacks of Purge out of the get-go, and then GI is going to basically regen his health and protection the first time someone reduces it. Now, obviously, if you do GI lead, there is a chance you get TM looped, and the unique doesn't really do a lot. The other thing is it's very Jedi-specific, without the exception of the savior mechanic. But in a Reva team, it's really strong, and that's why I said it would be B or A tier now. Pretty good Omicron, to be fair. Alright guys, the next one is Ninth Sister. It's meme tier. Just don't apply it, basically. It's just an absolute waste. So what this one is going to be doing is, guess what guys, it's based on Jedi. This one, all Empire allies gain 20% defense and all Inquisitors are immune to ability block and stun. Just not worth it. Meme tier it goes. And then we have Eighth Brother, and guess what guys, it's meme tier again. Unfortunately, until the Inquisitors get ships, they're going to be meme tier, and then when they eventually do get ships, they are only going to move to D tier for the ships. So Eighth Brother is going to be whenever a Jedi enemy gains taunt from your Jedi uniques, all enemies take damage equals 20% of max health. This damage can't defeat enemies. Whenever a Jedi gains critical hit immunity from Jedi uniques, they dispel critical hit immunity and gain vulnerable for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. It's basically a hard counter to General Kenobi. We don't even need that, guys. Don't bother. Right, next we have Trench and his lead. So Trench's lead is called Feared Tactician, and it is this one. It is going to go in the A tier, guys. I think Trench's is really, really strong. So his lead is the following, guys. In TW, non-separatist droid allies have 50% mastery, 75% max health and max protection, and separatist allies with a tech can't have their TM reduced. Enemies with extortion will be critically hit if able. Whenever an enemy dispels a debuff, Separatists gain 10% turn meter, and the first time each enemy is reduced below 100% health, Separatist allies gain 20% offense stacking and 5 speed stack until the end of the encounter. It is just a really, really nice Omicron, and it's pivotal in getting those trench counters to Jabba, Rey, and even Reva in TW. Next up we have Cal, and it's the I'm Persistent Omicron. This one is good, but we're going to put it in C tier. And the reason being, it just doesn't do anything unless you have Fulcrums. Now, Fulcrums is a great Omicron, but then you have to apply Fulcrum to even use Cal. What's the point, guys? That's why it's in C tier. It's a nice one. It has potential. Other than that, it's just not worth it. And then we have Sana Staros, guys. And what this is going to be doing is it's going to be making them immune to daze, and at the start of the battle, Rebel Scoundrel tanks will taunt for 1 turn, and Rebel Scoundrels and Sana start with tenacity up. Target locked can't be resisted, and the first time each turn, Rebel allies and Sana deal damage more than once, dispel all buffs on all enemies, and inflict healing immunity for 1 turn. Honestly, guys, it's it's not that it's a bad Omicron. It's just I haven't seen too much. I don't really understand why you would apply it. I don't think it's that great. So it's in C tier. Alright guys, next up we have Admiral Trench. I smell fear. It smells good. I'm sure it does, Trench buddy. I'm sure it does. Now what this one is going to be doing is in TW, whenever an enemy resists a debuff from a separatist, they lose 10% crit damage stacking and 10% tenacity stacking. The first time Trench's health is reduced below 75%, he recovers 100% health and gains foresight, protection up and tenacity up. While a separatist allies heal over time, health recovery is increased by 15%, and while a separatist ally has protection over time, protection recovery is increased by 15%. It also gives allies with tactical supremacy an additional 25% speed. Now this one is nice, but guys, you don't really need this one. It's going to go in D tier. I just don't think this is as good as his lead and his basic. Personally, I'm going to put it in D tier. There's an argument for C tier. I don't think it's that good. I also think there's an issue where if you don't bring Wat Tambor, some people still don't, then you're going to lose. And also, Trench, do you really want to be triple Omicroning him? I don't know. Alright guys, moving on to his basic. I think his basic is very strong. I'm going to put it in the A tier as well. I think his basic is really, really good, guys. So what the basic is doing, during Trench's turn, inflict ability block on target enemy for 1 turn, which can't be dispelled or resisted, and then reduce their crit damage by 20% until the end of the encounter. If the target enemy was already debuffed, remove 50% TM. Non-droid separatist allies recover health and protection. I think this is a really, really strong Omicron, and that's why it's going in the A tier. Alright guys, so the next one on the list is going to be Tusken Warrior. This one is on the B tier. Could easily be A tier, but A tier is looking a bit full, so we're going to put it in the B tier today. And what this one is going to do is basically whenever Tusken Warrior gains 15 stacks of momentum, they dispel all debuffs, their cooldown of finishing strikes is reset, and they take a bonus turn. This Omicron allows you to auto Grievous with Droidica. So hey, it's pretty fun. It's a really good Omicron. It makes Tuskens very strong. It's a newer character, and also, you know, have you invested in Tuskens. But it definitely is a B or A tier Omicron for sure. Alright guys, moving on, we have Princess Nisa. I don't know how it has more Omicrons than Tarful. That's kind of tragic. Tarful gets so much hate in this community. Sad times for the Wookiees. So what this one is going to be doing is it's going to be Nisa is this one, right? So what this Omicron is going to be doing is it's going to be making Nisa give the team a little bit of survivability. So Nisa has 95% crit chance, 25% crit damage, and 10% max health. She then gains 10 speed for each Ewok and is immune to daze and stun. At the start of the battle, she gains crit chance up, crit damage up, and 100% TM. Allied Ewoks gain 10% offense, and whenever an Ewok gains a buff, Nisa recovers health and protection. Whenever an Ewok is inflicted with a debuff, they recover health and gain turn meter. Whenever an Ewok ally reduces target enemy's critical damage by 5% whenever they assist. So yeah, it's pretty good. She also reduces her cooldowns. It's going to go in the B tier. I honestly think Nisa's got a good Omicron here, guys. This allows you to beat Emperor Palpatine's Starkiller teams in TW, which is really, really nice. Other than that, I don't know yet. It's still a very new Omicron, but it is in the B tier. Alright guys, and then we have 2 more. I kind of forgot about Boba Fett Sign of Django's special. It is going to go in the D tier. I think it's kind of a waste. I'll tell you what it does while I'm here. What it does is the following. In TW, this ability gains a new benefit based on the number of stacks of momentum Boba Fett Sign of Django has. At 16 stacks, all bounty hunters or scoundrels gain tenacity up for 3 turns and inflict protection disruption for 2 turns, and these effects can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted. It sounds amazing, but you don't normally get that many stacks of momentum. It's kind of a bit of a waste. You just need his lead, and it's unique. And the final Omicron for today, guys, is going to be Tarful. I don't understand the Tarful hate. I'm going to be putting this in the B tier easily, guys. This could easily be A tier, but we're going to put it in the B tier. Now, if you're wondering what this does, it does the following. In TW, at the start of the battle, all allies gain 25% defense, protection up, and tenacity up for 2 turns. Whenever an allied Wookiee is critically hit, All rookies gain Foresight for 1 turn, and 5% defense stacking until the end of the encounter. Whenever an allied Wookiee gains Retribution, all allies gain Retribution for 2 turns, and the first time each Wookiee is defeated, all Wookiees have their cooldowns refreshed, recover 100% of their health, and gain 25% offense stacking until the end of the encounter. Guys, if you would just stop setting Wookiees on defense, you would see that this is a fantastic Omicron. Wookiees can work on defense. They do kind of get murked by Bad Batch, but that's a fair trade. But on offense, you can beat some really fun stuff. I've done Lord Vader 2-shots. It can beat Maul. It can beat Grievous with Droideka. It can beat GI teams, trench teams. It just beats a lot of teams. I'm still taking it in. Unfortunately, TW doesn't come around every week, so we're a bit limited on how many times we can test it. But it is definitely a good Omicron. I would even say A tier. But it is going to go in B tier. Guys, that is the full list of Omicrons. I know this video was really long. Unfortunately, that just does happen when we have a lot of Omicrons to go through. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know down below in the comments, guys. Is there any Omicrons you think should change on where they are? And which one of these do you have that you think is extremely underrated? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. My name is Glurmit, and as always, guys, have a glurmin day.